Welcome to the Wrestling Related Podcast, where the topics are related to wrestling. The three of us are related to each other. I am Josh.
I'm Dustin.
I don't want to know what Dustin's doing. I'm Corey.
Oh, that's what we heard. I thought he had like duct tape or something that he was ripping off there just before we went. Nope, it was him busting out the undisputed PPV/PLE Prediction Championship belt.
That's not a mouthful.
Because we just finished up AEW WrestleDream, a stacked card, and the results came with me getting 5 correct predictions.
Attaboy.
Corey got 8 correct predictions.
Yeah, he did.
Dustin got 8 correct predictions, and the champion retains on a draw. So
winner.
Yep. That counts as a W.
Winner
Counts as a
W. You guys know who a
W.
champion is, right? He's got 2 thumbs. It's this guy.
Hey, speaking of thumbs, for the sake of brevity in this podcast,
wow,
what we are going to attempt to do, we had, I believe, 13 matches after there were a couple extras that were added. So we're going to run through, I'm going to do a rapid fire of who was in the match and who won. So spoiler alert for anybody that was wanting to watch it and hasn't watched it yet. And when we get to that, we will give a quick thumbs up, which is a hacksaw. A double thumbs up is the Batista, and a thumb down. Oh, no, wait. That's a double hacksaw. The thumbs down is the Batista.
No.
Yeah.
No.
And then the Orange
Batista.
The Batista's down, the Orange Cassidy, and the hacksaw.
So
if it was a really good one, you get the double hacksaw.
Hey!
All right. So, starting it off, and these are in no particular order because I don't remember what order they went in. I just started marking it down. We had the Conglomerarunners against the Premier Order of the Conglomeration and the Outrunners against the Premier Athletes and Dark Order. And the winners were Conglomerarunners. Dustin's giving it an Orange Cassidy. Hey, it's got the Outrunners in it. It gets a hacksaw for me. It doesn't matter.
That's the only reason it's not a this.
And Corey's giving it a hacksaw as well. We had Anna Jay versus Harley Cameron. That one. I'm going to give the match an Orange Cassidy. The promo leading up to it from Harley Cameron, that's a big ol' hacksaw. Corey and Dustin both giving hacksaws on that one. We had MXM Collection versus the Acclaimed, with the MXM Collection bringing out anyone?
Surprise.
Anyone?
Rico
Constantino.
Suave.
The Acclaimed wound up winning. Those guys are both giving it a Batista. I don't know. That gets nothing for me. You know what? Just because of Rico, I'm going to give it an Orange Cassidy because he at least brought in a little bit of comedy. So it gets an Orange Cassidy, and I like MXM Collection. Okay, we got Atlantis Jr. defending his title for the Ring of Honor World TV Championship against Brian Cage. Brian Cage was victorious on that. Orange Cassidy's all around on that match. Let's go with Hologram versus Beast Mortos, which I was the only one that correctly predicted Hologram to win that one. That one, Corey and I are giving a hacksaw on that. Dustin's giving a reluctant Orange Cassidy, it looks like. Yeah. Let's go with a Mark Briscoe versus Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Championship. You know what? Yes. Hacksaws all around. That was a good match. I love Chris Jericho. Always have, always will. We got Jack Perry, the TNT champion, against Katsuyori Shibata. No Siri. That one. Oh, we've got
one Batista.
A single Batista thumb for those two, and we get an Orange Cassidy for me. I didn't hate it.
I sure didn't like it.
Adam Page versus Jay White. Oh, yeah, that one's a big hacksaw. Ho! Loved that one. Jay White going over on that with a clean finish, by the way.
Clean.
Like, that was kind of the shocking one there. If I didn't say it, Mark Briscoe did retain the world championship on that. Jack Perry retained his championship on that.
Starting to sound like the deal guy, isn't he?
We had Darby Allin versus Brody King, which we all incorrectly predicted. But I'm giving that a double hacksaw. You guys are giving it a single hacksaw. So anything that makes me jump and cringe. Yes,
hacksaw's a hacksaw.
I like it.
That's like being twice pregnant.
You know what? That's 110%. Mariah May, AEW Women's World Championship against Willow Nightingale. That one gets an Orange Cassidy for me.
Oh, I thought it was good.
Okay. Dustin's giving it a big old hacksaw.
Best one I've seen out of Mariah May since she won the title.
Yep. Corey and I giving it some Orange Cassidys. Young Bucks versus Private Party. Have we got two Batistas from Corey and I, and
I can be persuaded.
Okay, Dustin was persuaded to join us with a Batista on that one.
Stinky.
Okay, last two matches we've got was Will Ospreay International Championship against Ricochet and Kinosuke Takeshita. Hacksaws all the way around on that one. And then the main event was Brian Danielson with the AEW World Championship against Jon Moxley. Hacksaws all the way around on that. For an overall card, taking the whole card, all 13 matches, including the 0 hour in, what do you rank it? Hacksaws all around. Worth the price of admission.
Yep.
All right. Okay, so that was the quick little
not
rundown.
Just because I won.
Yep. That was the quick rundown, which I'm glad we did a quick rundown because that only took us about 6 minutes when normally it takes us about 60 minutes. So, for the remaining time of this episode, what do you want to talk about? Like, we'll do a Cody Rhodes. So, what do you want to talk about?
Who do you want to start?
Either of you.
Well, I think it's
pick a match,
mandatory. I think it's mandatory that we have to talk about the return of not one, but two wonderful wrestlers. One that is better than all of us, and we know it.
Rico Constantino.
And, of course, Adam Cole, baby.
No.
Adam Cole, baby.
Baby.
Yes.
It was really good. I enjoyed it.
It was great to see both of them back, even more so to see Adam Cole coming out. I mean, I popped huge anytime MJF's music hits because you know it's going to be fun. But then when Adam Cole's music hits, that it's like, ooh, things are about to get good.
Now, was I the only one that actually held his breath as Adam Cole ran to the ring?
No, I don't think you were. No,
because there was until he's in the ring, and I'm like,
there was a stutter step there for a moment when he started to run, and I was like, yeah.
When he, we think they cut it on the video when he did the transition from the ramp to the pads.
Yeah,
I think that's the, and I think it was his nerves that kind of got the best of him on that one.
Whew.
So yes,
I am so looking forward to it.
I'm looking forward to seeing what's happening. I hope we get some more Adam Cole, MJF. Let's rekindle that feud. I'd like it. So I don't know what we're going to get for sure, but.
And I will say that there was a rumor this week about the fact that there was one wrestler that was supposed to make an appearance, but because there were so many other pop-up appearances, Tony Khan thought, let's hold that back a little bit. Let's wait because he wants Bobby Lashley to turn around and be special. Yeah, because Bobby Lashley is special. I mean, he's been wrestling for what, 25 years,
Smart.
20 years.
Yeah,
and it's still just amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was a great decision to hit pause and just say, "Hey, we don't have to do everything all at once. We can slow roll this just a hair."
Right. I watched the pay-per-view with Josh at his place, and we were discussing that during the happenings, and I think this is actually going to play out better because instead of it being, hey, last week we now have Shelton Benjamin, and then now we're going to bring out Bobby Lashley. Now we get an opportunity where Shelton Benjamin and Swerve get a kind of.
And I'm looking forward to that.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's gonna be so
Exactly.
good.
Let's not wash over Shelton Benjamin.
Not at all.
It's like more athletic than 99% of the roster or of anybody's roster out there.
Yeah.
But then allows us to get a little drama there before then bring Bobby Lashley out for another big pop, and you just kind of got over and over and over and get it bigger and bigger. So it's gonna be nice.
And let's not overlook that promo. That promo was a good promo with MVP and
Yep.
Prince Nana and everybody. That was a really good promo all around.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it, that whole segment. I'm typically not a big fan of just promo segments during a pay-per-view. Like, I paid money to watch wrestling, not paid to watch somebody say, "Talk to me," when I'm talking to you. But yes,
no funny, man.
That one was a good one. I enjoyed it, and I did pop at Rico. I popped at Rico constant. I loved it
when he turned around. Yes, it was like, oh my gosh, they did not.
It was hilarious. So good.
Here's the only thing. I just hope it's not a one shot on Rico, because could you create anybody else on the planet that is a better fit for those guys than Rico?
Nope.
They're like his illegitimate offspring.
Right,
is what it is.
Yeah.
But the fact is, Rico can cut a better promo than both of those guys put together.
Yeah.
I mean,
they needed
it. They need it.
Josh, he's like,
Josh doesn't agree.
I like him. I like him so.
They look like a couple of beanpoles with legs. I can't get over it. It's just they look like one bad spear and they're going to snap their spine.
I mean, Mansoor definitely, yes. Mansoor definitely looks like that, yes. But that's also a lot of people on the AEW roster. Yeah. I mean, we
difference is Darby Allin does snap his spine and he keeps going. So
yeah, I wasn't even thinking Darby Allin. I was thinking like Daniel Garcia or
oh my gosh.
Yeah, we can do without that.
Yeah. What is that?
That one dude.
Ricky Starks.
There you go. The other
he's not even there anymore, is he?
I have no idea.
Yeah, he's still under contract. He hasn't went to the WWE yet, but he's still under contract. They're just not making him wrestle, letting him wrestle.
Let's talk about Darby. And
ouch.
Brody King. Woof.
Love me some Brody.
Woof. Mm-hmm. He came out and business is about to pick up, and woof.
Yeah.
I actually closed my eyes right when Darby Allin slapped him to begin with. I closed my eyes and looked down. I'm like, this isn't going to be good. This isn't going to be good. And I heard it, and I'm like, okay, now I'll back it up and watch it.
Right.
That was not good.
Yeah.
That was not good.
Yeah, and one of those chops that Brody hit, and you look at Darby, and it's like, I think he just, took his breath away. I think he knocked the wind out of him with a chop because Darby hits and he starts crawling, grasping, and it's just like, give me a minute, hold on a second. It was just
the referee goes to check on him, says, "Are you okay?" And he's like,
"Yeah."
There's a reason why Darby Allin wears tights and jean shorts. It's because when he gets hit hard enough, he doesn't want it to show through.
Oh yeah,
right.
It very well could have.
It was bad. But I mean, even Brody King, he took the bump on them stairs on that outside, and I'm like,
yeah,
you go, Brody. I'm surprised the stairs held up. But
that was maybe the most surprising thing to me. I thought they were going to bend, but no, they held. So
I bet you wish they would have bent.
They probably do with him landing on them. Yeah, it was a great match. Cool. I loved that because it had me not knowing. I love the matches where I don't know who's going to win and I can see it going either way at any point in time. Another one that did that I really enjoyed was Chris Jericho versus Mark Briscoe. I didn't know because it's like I don't know if Chris Jericho's right and if he got in his head enough that he's going to make a mistake, or if Briscoe's right and he got in his head enough that he's now got so much passion going into this that there's no chance he loses. And it was like, it could have went either way at any given time.
They did a great job, both of them, keeping you on the edge of your seat up until the very end when Mark ends up looking up. And at that point, I'm like, okay, he's hitting the J Driller and it's over.
Yeah.
And there it was. There it was.
But with that being, but with that being at what, like 15 seconds before the end of the match,
exactly.
It was like, I'm good with you calling out your finish at that point because many do. It was good.
And granted, almost anybody can. I don't know how many bad Jericho matches I've seen, but come on, has this got to be like one of the top 5 best Briscoe matches you've seen?
It's up there.
I mean, it's up there.
Singles Briscoe match, yes.
Singles, yes.
Singles.
But whoa,
yeah.
And they just the back and forth and the interaction and at no point in time did it like lag, and at no point in time did it feel rushed. It's just good storytelling, and that's a testament to both guys.
Yeah, and there were, like, Jericho's taking moves. Like, it's not like he's doing an old-timer where, I'm not going to bump for you. Right. I'm not going to take anything. No, he's taking everything, and he just does it. And that's where, yes, Jericho's been my favorite wrestler for a long time. Going back to being a teenager.
No, really?
But it bothers me when I hear people like pick on him, insult him, demean the work that he's doing, even with AEW. They're like, he's just kind of taking up the spotlight and he's not putting people over. And it's like, no, that's all he's doing. He's coming in and he's like, out of everybody in the locker room, everybody on the roster, I don't know any of them that have a bigger name recognition globally than Jericho. Like, I just don't think there's a single one, because while you could sit there and say, maybe Adam Copeland has a bigger name recognition under Edge in the U.S., he sure doesn't in Mexico and Japan. Right. And when Jericho's one of them, well, and I'm like, that's a stretch for me to even say that.
Yeah.
True. But it's like, who has really got that name recognition? And he goes in there and you think about, he winds up doing a program with Darby Allin and gets Darby Allin. Nobody knows who Darby Allin is. Jericho starts wrestling him. Everybody knows. He does it with Daniel Garcia. He winds up doing it with MJF. He's doing it with Mark Briscoe. And even going back to what he did in WWE, he did the same thing. Like, you look back, where is Kevin Owens right now? And you can look back at that tag team of Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens, and all of a sudden it's like, he's given him the rub. He's taken that name recognition and the visibility he has, and he's like, come alongside me. Let me help you. Look at, like, Big Bill and the Bad Apple, Brian Keith. It's like, I mean...
just by being next to him.
Right. That was a chair. It wasn't anything else. Dustin looked like I made noise coming out the back end.
Well, and now let's just go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say now, and keeping in mind that while Jericho he's not just a magic wand and can't just make somebody, regardless of the match or whatever you put him into. Fandango.
Yeah.
Or was it Hook? Yeah, him. But you can't just make somebody. But when you got some talent and you're still learning and you get in there with Jericho, it's time to level up. And that's what it is. It's a level up.
Yeah, let's even go back to Hook. Okay, Hook's not where any of us would want him to be. But after that program with Jericho, Hook is a whole lot better off than where he was beforehand. Because beforehand, nobody would even put him in front of a camera to talk or put a microphone in his hand. And he's at least coming out and doing full sentences. So it's like, all right. And there's a little bit of intrigue now with whatever he's got going on. It's like, I don't know what he's doing, but...
I don't want to know.
I'm at least... when he comes on camera, I'm somewhat intrigued just to hear what he says because I want to know where it's going to go. And that's like prior to that with Jericho, I don't think I would have really cared. It would have been the same thing.
Yeah.
So moving forward, we were talking about Chris Jericho and Briscoe and about how they just kind of kept you on the edge of your seat. You didn't know who was going to win that match.
Yep.
Right.
Likewise, another match, the Ricochet, Will
International
Ospreay, Takeshita, that whole match. Oof. At any given moment, after about, I'd say 90 seconds into the match.
Yeah.
From 90 seconds till the end, you didn't know.
Nope.
You didn't know. And everything was, I'm going to give Takeshita credit because now we all know Ricochet. We know what that man can do. We all know what Will Ospreay can do.
And we've seen those two together, and we know what they can do together. Yeah.
The fact that
Takeshita happened to rise.
6'4", what is he, like 230 or something like that? He's bigger than both of them. And you turn around, and of course, he's not going to be as fast.
Yep.
So they all three worked that into the story about the fact that, okay, Takeshita's not as fast, but he's definitely a whole lot bigger.
Yeah.
And his blows are going to hurt a whole lot more. But each one of them, even Takeshita selling, did a great job. Where before, I've seen Takeshita in matches where it's almost like, are you the Japanese version of Goldberg? What you got to sell to the other guy?
Yeah, do something.
He did in that match. That was a great match, hands down.
Yep. Yeah, I thought it was
amazing.
I thought it was fantastic. I loved the match. You talking about the aerial versus the strength and aspect, and there was that one, the dive to the outside where Takeshita's out there. Ricochet does the twisting tope or whatever, and Takeshita catches him, stands back up, and then Ospreay does the exact same thing to the other side, and they all go down. And it's like, that's the stuff that it made sense with the size and their abilities, and it was it was great. And some of the strikes that Takeshita was putting on the others. We talk about Brody King strikes on Darby Allin, and Takeshita was laying them in on those guys, and it was like,
and they were selling for him,
like the forearm. Oh, and Ricochet's sell just. It was just like, that was disgusting.
Between Brody King's chops, Takeshita's forearms, well, and then the chops from was it Shibata? That match. Oh my gosh.
Shibata did the shotgun chops or what machine gun chops, whatever they call them. He did those, and Corey's sitting there, and I was like, yes, somebody go get Eddie Kingston and tell him this is how it's supposed to be done, not the way he's been doing it. Like,
not the
because
with both hands.
And hey, I know that's not the easiest thing to do, but at least when Shibata does it, it looks like those are rapid fire individual chops, and every single one of them hurts. Whereas
not playing patty cake.
Yeah, it's
and they may hurt like crazy, but they don't look as mean as Shibata.
But you know, I'm gonna go ahead and totally off that subject. I'm gonna defend Eddie Kingston from the time Eddie came into AEW to right before he went out for injury. Eddie has made leaps and bounds of improvement.
So much, yes.
Oh
agreed.
My goodness!
Agreed. And the one thing
is that one of those guys that just needs the opportunity?
Yeah,
and the ring time.
Well, absolutely. Actually, I think the thing that Eddie Kingston needs more than anything else is he just needs the mic. Like, out of all of the guys that have come in that have kind of been the indie darling, so to speak, the ones that everybody wanted to be brought up and get a main event push or a mainstream push, Eddie Kingston's the one that can actually cut a promo. And he's the one that you believe that he lives his gimmick. And so it's like, he'll believe it, and and that's where it's like, just give him the mic more. Now, the problem is the mic work, because he's playing kind of this face or like an anti-heel, type of a character.
Sure.
Then he's got to have the in-ring ability to kind of match it. Otherwise, you just keep jobbing out. And his in-ring ability maybe not quite have been there with some of the people they put him in, at least in the perception. And it's like, it's hard to believe that he's going to do it because he does a lot of that Japanese strong style, but he doesn't do it as well as the others, and it doesn't look as polished as the others that are already on the same card.
Because they're on the same card.
Yeah.
Got it.
Like, if they weren't there, then it's like, oh, yeah, this guy's fantastic.
Well,
but it's just the comparison, and it's his look combined with his execution on some of the moves that it's just not quite as clean and crisp as the others. So then, as the face, it's not quite as believable.
So it's more a few little adjustments that if we could just dial these few things in all together, then it's night and day.
Or
got it.
Flip him heel. Like, just a simple heel turn. Instead of being the anti-heel, just let him go heel. Because then, if it doesn't look as polished, nobody cares.
Right.
Because you're the heel. We're already going to be booing you and trying to pick out and nitpick about everything.
Right.
And it's like that. It's just one of those little things that I think would be good. Which I'd like to see back.
Hang on, let's get back to the
good. That's what I was going to say.
The three-way. I was going to make one hypothesis, one guess. I'm willing to wager that Christopher Daniels helped produce that match, because
I can see
that guy has more successful three-way matches than almost anybody. In fact, Styles has come out and say every single three-way match that he's been in with Daniels, or every three-way match he's ever been in, he calls Daniels, because they're like tight, and calls Daniels and says, "Hey, I need the formula."
I don't know,
because Daniels has this formula that he works a three-way match in that just plays out. And I keep going back to that. Styles and Daniels and Samoa Joe. That's like the textbook beautiful three-way match. I mean,
I don't know. If he was involved with it on the producing side, I think it was more a case of Daniels going to those three and saying, "Hey, figure it out. Come let me know what you got." They bring it back, and he's like, "Looks good. Go."
Because I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm not saying they couldn't do it.
I just don't know.
I'm
I
saying
don't know as he
from
had
what I've
that.
heard what I'm hearing from in interviews is that he has like the skeleton for a three-way formula. He has a three-way formula as opposed to what a standard match formula would be.
If he didn't have any direct input on it, it works. If it wasn't any direct input, it was evident that it was influenced, because
and
I've seen enough of
him on the roster.
I've seen enough of the Ospreay three-ways that he's got some amazing, triple threat matches out there that Daniels wasn't even on the card for. But he grew up watching them. So it's like there's that influence that
he's
comes
a TNA
in.
Kid.
Yeah, so it's like the influence alone is going to carry over on some of it.
I can tell you who had the least amount of influence on that, and that was the champion, Takeshita. he went along for the ride, and he says, "This is what I do," and they're like, "Oh, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way,"
And
the second he pulled off that elbow pad, Takeshita, how many people were thinking, "Uh-oh, he's gonna get blasted"? And then all of a sudden he throws it, and you're like, "Oh shit! What the hell was that?"
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And props to Ricochet. He's one of the best sellers in the business, and he just
absolutely.
It was great.
Now, before we run out of time, we need to touch base on that very final match, the Danielson and Moxley match. Was not surprised on how it went.
Nope.
You two correctly predicted it.
Right.
If we went back 6 months ago, I think I said that I could foresee Jon Moxley being the one that actually retires him. But I just, and I don't know, maybe it was just the final countdown, and I was like, I don't want to see it. And because I don't want to see it, I'm not going to say it.
And let's just say, I honestly thought if you watch, he's got him in that bulldog sleeper. His arms go limp. The ref goes over and checks him, and as soon as the ref turned to call it, his hands came back up, but he already called it, and it looked like the ref's like, "Oh, I just messed up." And then Moxley not selling it and sitting up and just kind of sitting there. I thought, did y'all just screw up, or was this supposed to end like this? Because that looked like Moxley was
playing that.
Ooh, I don't know. Moxley looked ticked off more so at the end than the rest of the match.
Well,
and I thought,
but then there was a moment. There was a moment where Moxley's just sitting there on his knees and Danielson's laying down, and Moxley kind of like bows to him.
Right.
And so then at that point, it's like, okay, I think this was the plan and the intention, and Moxley just couldn't hold that back.
Yeah. And then
I don't know how I feel.
You know, it was more of a work as well when it was all over with, and here comes Wheeler Yuta,
everybody,
and they give him the bag,
yep.
And you see Danielson stand up and literally just back right into him. You're like, okay,
yeah,
right. He's fine,
right?
He's taking some time off.
Yeah,
he's done with full-time wrestling.
Yeah,
maybe we'll see him next year at WrestleDream.
Yeah, I think the finish ended the way it was supposed to end. I think the ending and he went over and everything went the way it was supposed to. I wonder if maybe they had something else planned that they didn't get to for one reason or another. But like a missed spot or something they wanted to do.
Honestly, I had a little bit of hesitation there at the end when everybody started coming out and that crowd was so hot. I thought for sure they were going to start throwing things.
Right, yeah.
Crowd, I thought it was going to break down with the audience.
You did recognize they threw the belt in the bag and they left out the front.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Before the crowd.
Good match, though. Good show.
It was a good match, and afterwards, and still with that match, I acknowledge that it was a good match. I recognize it was a good match. I enjoyed the match, and yet there's a part of me that is still numb because I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel or how I ought to feel or what to feel about that because Brian Danielson is so good.
So good.
He should never retire. He should wrestle until, like, he's the guy that should literally end his career by ending his life in the ring. Like, that's kind of, he's got that type of a love for the business and what he does with the craft in the ring. It's like, that's the only way I can see him going. I can see him being...
You seriously want him to pull a Terry Funk or Ric Flair? And just
yes, I want him to be the Terry Funk and the Ric Flair.
Retirements keep coming back.
I want to see 73-year-old Brian Danielson trying to hit cattle mutilation on an 18-year-old in that ring. That's what I want to see. I want to see him
so old that all he can do is kick him in the head.
I want to see him giving the yes kicks with 3 layers of kick pads on, just so he doesn't bust a shin. That's what I want to see.
Bottom line is Josh is Tony Schiavone in the media scrum.
Yes,
because Tony Schiavone during a media scrum was not happy. He just sitting there. His interaction with Don Callis was hilarious. You know, thanks for that criticism. And then he just stands there or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, it was fun.
No,
good match. Good pay-per-view.
I like the fact that the way it ended and how it ended and giving him the opportunity to take some time off, but he's just stepping away from full time. Also opens the door for so many options for him to be able to just come in and be able to maybe even do an Undertaker type schedule where you only see him work a couple times a year, but man, he's able to give it his all. Whereas if at this point in time he were to continue with the full-time schedule, he's not going to be able to get to 73. He's going to be he's going to be in a chair in the next 6 months.
Yeah. No, the other thing I could see him doing, I would actually enjoy seeing him do, is I would like to see him basically do what William Regal did with these guys with the Blackpool Combat Club, him kind of be the mentor guy that brings in the other young guys and build them up and help, like I could see him doing that. He already did some of it with Wheeler Yuta. Like, let him keep doing that with others and build his own little Blackpool Combat or Moxley or whatever they're calling themselves. We don't even know yet. Just another faction against them. That would be cool to see. But they have to be guys that are kind of cut in his mold, not Darby Allin. Like, no, we need a Wheeler Yuta. Like, that's kind of who we need. We need a Shibata. Like, we can't have no Daniel Garcia. No.
So one more vote, and this is just a hands up or hands down. After that pay-per-view, after that 3+ hours pay-per-view, 13 matches, how many of us are looking forward after the results to Wednesday night to see what's going on? Oh, yeah.
Yes,
then the pay-per-view did its job.
Yes.
Yep.
It did. So, yep. Good pay-per-view. Good time. I think next on the PPV and PLE schedule, we got Crown Jewel coming up, and then AEW's Full Gear. So those are in November. Crown Jewel's just in a couple weeks away, and we got a little over a month. On November 23rd is Full Gear, but then it's back-to-back with Full Gear and then Survivor Series Warm Games. So November is got 3 of them for us. And then we'll have to do it the 28th of December after World's End for our final podcast recording of the year. We'll have to give a year-end tally to see who had the most wins, the most individual match. So we'll do that. We'll see who had the best prediction. So we use whether it's batting average, seeing if we're predicting at 500 or, I don't know, completion ratings like quarterback, where we're doing 17 of 32. We'll figure out something. Anywho.
Sounds good.
Until, I guess, Crown Jewel, you get a hold onto that belt. And the way things are going, Corey will probably correctly predict that one. So, we'll catch y'all in the next episode.
Later, guys.